Just gotta go, get deeper in these woods. It's quick decision time, we're moving. Oh, let's pray they're not slowing down here. Definitely a risk of being sighted back in here.
There's a chunk of beautiful, nearly untouched land in the middle of the interstate, and tonight I'm calling it home. This strip of land isn't meant for people. It sits between lanes of traffic, hidden in plain sight, and tonight I'm gonna try and disappear here. But first, we're gonna have to find the right approach and the right entry point. So we're entering from a side road into this area. Stealth will be crucial on this mission. And speaking of mission, we set up some rules for ourselves. Once we're in, we don't leave. And if we get caught or we're sighted, this mission is a failure. All right, let's go.
So we just parked the car back there and we're gonna walk a ways to get to where we're going. One thing I'm noticing on this walk in is a lot more traffic than I thought in this area, so just gonna have to go hike the whole area, see what we see before we make any decisions. So we've been passing a lot of cool little homesteads, but one thing that's a good sign is there's been no cars, or at least not a significant number of cars passing us as we walk up. But we are approaching the interstate right here. We will see what it looks like as far as spots to slip into the woods shortly. Go down under this bridge and off to the right somewhere. But you see a old abandoned house right there. That's pretty creepy looking. We've come across some of that on our walk in. Okay, we're crossing under the interstate right now. There's another bridge up ahead, but we're gonna see about entering over here to our right. It's definitely got my stress level up. And there's a ton of automobile noise. Okay, quick update. There's not really a good access point, at least not yet. We're still looking. We're at the second bridge, but there's some water back there that might prove to be a possible access point, but we don't want to get soaked in the process. All right, let's go.
Okay, before we get too far in the adventure, I wanted to give you a lay of the land. This interstate median is, generally speaking, pretty narrow, probably about 100 yards wide, maybe 150, and narrower in many parts. And it's probably about a half mile or more long. The purple lines indicate the crossing country roads that basically intersect the interstate, and neither of them have exit ramps, so it is a quiet area that we are going to attempt to enter from in the south.
All right, it's still daylight, and I think I found our best access spot. We're gonna have to just go ahead and take advantage of it and go and cut, go through this gap, go cut, and get deep into the woods quick. So I'm just gonna keep filming. We're gonna go and we're gonna pray no cars come by. There's one right, dang it. Oh. Right when I was about to duck in there, right when I was about to duck in, a car came by on this side road. And I know they probably weren't bugging with me, but if I was right within that first 15-20 feet when they passed, that would have been big trouble. And what's crazy is the car noise is like, you can't tell if it's a car over the interstate or one on this little side road. But we're gonna go while we can go. We're gonna go cut through here, right here. No cars coming. Okay. Yes, there are briars. We just have to push through them and get us and this orange backpack out of the line of sight right away. Dang it, I'm getting through, but the backpack's getting stuck. Oh my God. Okay. We gotta stay low. We gotta get off both the side road and the main road. This is crazy. Okay. 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 Now the main road can see us, the interstate. If they looked. But we're away a little bit from the side road. We just gotta go, get deeper in these woods. And that'll be our starting point. What I'm realizing is that it's a pine forest, and there's not as much cover as I thought. Oh, this is nerve-wracking. This is honestly quite nerve-wracking because I got this orange air mattress on my back. Everything else is camo. But God almighty. And it almost fell out. Okay. I'm just gonna get low for a second. There's a car on the side road. There was a car on the side road just then. I think I'm gonna have to sit still for about, I don't know how long, till it gets darker. Or I've got to find a better place to cover here. All right, this is critical right now. Stealth is critical. Right over here to my right is the side road. In front of me is a little bit of interstate. Behind me is a little bit of interstate. Off to my left is more forest. There is some water down in here, and I saw it like a raging little creek, so I might explore that, but for right now, I've taken my bags off. Right here, I'm gonna cover the orange with like a branch or two, and it is still raining some, so I'm gonna have to get the shelter up quick, but I'm gonna leave the bags right here, or I'm gonna maybe just take the camo bag with me, and we're gonna go explore a little bit and look for a bit more cover. But one of the problems is there's not a lot of like up and down elevation that creates like hills and valleys and burrows to hide in. It's a little flat. And over here you can see the interstate's got a view of me at this spot, so I have to find a better spot than this. Okay, it's quick decision time. We're moving up in the median, but when I go to one side, there's a little more cover than the other side. And when I go to the other side, there's a little less cover. And so I'm trying to stick to the middle. It's very stressful because you can just see headlights and cars. Oh my God. There's definitely a risk of being sighted back in here. Hopefully no one's looking too far down, but there's a big brush pile right there. We may go get into there for cover, but at least now we're away from the crossroad that was behind us. But we're gonna go deeper. We just need to, because I did look at the map and there is more space up in front of us, and maybe the woods get denser. Oh my gosh. I tell you though, this will get your heart pounding. Okay, we're at a spot with a tiny bit of cover, so I can catch my breath, but it's like out of every 100 or 200 cars, one might go by that someone's looking in the woods over here. So I just can't risk it, but it is getting darker. I think I'm gonna go even deeper and explore more. Oh, it is definitely stressful back here. We got to get our camo tarp set up too, because the rain is not stopping. The weather forecast is definitely wrong. I do see like a downed tree right there. I could build a shelter under it and kind of dig out the leaves underneath, but I also checked out the map and this goes a long way further, so we're going to explore. And there's a creek off to the right. The problem is the creek is a little too close to the east side of the interstate, but we're going to go ahead and carry on walking. Wow, the creek is right here. Look at that creek down in there. Cool, huh? Wow. But we are really exposed right here, but it would be cool to set up near this creek. I mean, rarely is the median of the interstate this big and have a creek in it like a big one. I'd love to get up to the source of that water, but what I'm following right now must be an old deer trail, looks like. So we're gonna take advantage of it. Wow, now that is beautiful right there. Wow. I mean, a shelter right here could be good, actually. I'd have to be careful, but there's a few big trees right here in front of me. I could get behind one, and my backside's covered as long as I stay kind of low. This is a good spot. We might circle back to it. One quick note, shout out to Howard for the Tio Luchos camo hat. It's coming in handy right about now. So one thing I'm doing is I'm going through the woods, but I'm just standing still every now and then for a good minute by a tree, like right now. When cars go by, I don't want to be constantly moving. Kind of wait for a quiet zone, then go 10, 20, 30 feet, look around, soak in the environment, scan everything, then move again, because when you haven't been on a piece of land like this and it's your first time, you really do have to examine it closely when you're scouting for a stealth site. And you just got to be careful not to move too much all over the place. But it's beautiful. Okay, so I've discovered something cool. I've been exploring deeper and deeper, as you can tell, into this area, right? And this creek right here that it's getting dark on is beautiful. But look, what's cool is, so across from me there's like a hill now on the east side of the creek. And yes, you can see some lights up there, and they kind of come around the corner like that, but then they go behind this hill. So if I go back and get my bag over here off to my right, and I come back and I cross this creek somewhere, this beautiful creek, yeah, I think I could set up camp on that side of it, right over there, that side. I think my campsite could be perfectly situated right by the water. And this running water is a really cool feature. But I'm gonna explore a little bit more while we have light. I have to be careful about the camera, the lights blinking on the camera and everything. And I'm gonna definitely have to be careful crossing this creek if I cross it. But it's looking promising back in here. A nice secluded, hidden site.
So there were a variety of factors to consider when I was evaluating which of the two locations I was going to make my campsite in. But it came down to visibility and vulnerability of being detected ultimately. So we made the call and decided to stay in the low point near the creek.
All right, we got the last light of the day, and it's actually kind of hard to pick between the two sites, where I set my bags down or the one I'm headed to deeper. But there's some pros and cons of each, and the one I'm going to lets me sit right on the edge of the creek and be pretty well protected, but it's a little longer hike out in the morning. Oh, let's get there and set up. All right. Briars everywhere. I'm glad I'm prepared with the right equipment and gear this time.
Here's a quick look at our entry point and the approximate location of the two sites.
All right, you can't see me, but we have about half our camp set up. We have the tarp up and we have our gear underneath it. But even this camera's light, the blinking red and the screen glowing, is too bright. So we are going to continue setting up in the dark. We'll get some night vision, but we're going to wait till like 2 in the morning to put a little light on and give you a inside look at our tent and our setup. But the benefit of the rain persisting is that no one expects anyone to be back in here. But my shelter is looking better and better. Still got a bit of a sag, and so I'm going to probably prop it up from the inside a little better. But we're still working on it. It's about 8 p.m. The sound of the creek is just magical, but it is still misting pretty heavy, and we will see if it rains all night and through to the morning, or if it stops, or if it goes heavy, or what. But we've got all our gear under the tarp. We've got to roll out our bed mat and inflate it in a little while. But so far so good. And now that we're back in here and the lights have gone down, I'm a little more comfortable. So I'm over here by this spring, and I'll tell you something that just freaked me out. So I'm pretty secluded right here from both roadways. If it wasn't for the sound of this water being a little creepy over here running under the bridge, this would be a great secluded campsite where you probably would never get spotted. You could even have a fire or something like that. But let me tell you this. I turned around and looked back where my campsite is, and I saw a light, and it was just solid and glowing. And I was like, my heart skipped a beat. And I had to just sit there and hold my breath. And what it is I realized that some distant lamp in a house's backyard or something way far away across the highway, across the interstate, had lit up and was just lit solid. But it took some cars going by for me to realize that it was a little bit up above the roadway. But I'm telling you, I turned around and it felt like that light was like right over my campsite. A small light, but right there. And this embankment by this water source right here is so steep that we may or may not be able to climb up it to get some footage. We'll see. We climbed up here on this embankment, and we are getting our money's worth as far as the adrenaline of just hiding from these cars as they zoom by. It's crazy. Whew. And it's just a star-filled sky above us. Oh wow. Holy smokes. Oh my God, we're filming, but there's some emergency vehicle with its lights on right there. Oh, let's pray they're not slowing down here. What is this? Oh, thank God. Is this some kind of tow truck or some kind of security vehicle? Now I gotta find my way back to camp, but I'm also gonna look for a few more vantage points to film from. But there's just the roar of cars all over. It is nice having a whole space like this to yourself. So one thing that's going on right now that's a little crazy is I am attempting to go back to my campsite from a different direction, and it's unfamiliar to say the least. There's a lot of trees down and stuff I did not see when I was walking in, and I'm trying to even find that the woods looks familiar. It runs through the middle. And I've tried to pinpoint some landmarks, and you'd think I could find that deer trail. But no luck. And honestly, when I went back that far south and came to the crossroad, I heard a couple of thumps. And I think it was trees knocking against each other, maybe like waving in the wind. But I would say there's a few things in here that have got me kind of shook, but I'm gonna keep working on getting back to from my camp.
This whole process of getting lost and turned around and backwards was so exhausting that when I finally made it back, I hardly had the energy to even eat or do anything other than lay down.
Okay. Well, we made it back to our little shelter, and it's later at night. It's like 10:30 now. And that was a walkabout. Let me tell you, we went and got hopefully some good footage, some nighttime photography, but oh my God, I got so turned around. Going from one shoulder of the interstate over by that culvert, I was looking for the source of the spring. And so tired. Oh. I'm just laying down. I don't know what I can sleep, but I brought some food. I'm gonna eat it. It's pretty cooked. Doesn't need. Part of this is just, you know, it's funny. I brought gear to kind of get comfortable. But you're not out. Tired. But that's part of the process. All right. Let's get something to eat and get to sleep.
So I'll tell you something funny. I just fell asleep there in the shelter for a little while before I even ate dinner. I was just exhausted. And but I'm gonna have a little noodles and smoked salmon, Szechuan. If you've been watching the episodes, you know. So there you can see my gear, my shelter under there. But I'm just gonna sit here on the side and eat by the creek. There's a little spider. And then I'm gonna go back to sleep because I am tired.
I will say these little clip-on reading lights are very nice, especially the fact they can clip onto pretty much anything. So if I had more energy, I would sit here and read a book or write in my journal, but all I have the energy to do is take this jacket off, empty my pockets, and wrap up in this blanket. But all right, night night.
It was a beautiful moonlit morning. I woke up early, packed up before the sun came up. Left no trace of my campsite as I exited the woods.